जलगांव सिटी से एक 12 किलोमीटर एक गांव है. इट्स कॉल्ड शिरसोली. अंटिल 10th I was all about काटकोण त्रिकोण आणि हे सगळं असं. Okay, I had a science dictionary
हाँ.
which is like from Marathi to English. I never even imagined myself sitting in the airplane. Okay, forget about coming to the US. Right now I'm a molecular diagnostic manager. That's just a title variance. So I come from a very small town, right? So गांव में क्या था, अगर जिस डॉक्टर ने मेरे को 2 दिन में ठीक कर दिया, मतलब वो डॉक्टर बहुत अच्छा है, राइट? हाँ.
3 out of 5 people went back.
Yes,
Why
yes.
do you think so many go back? So when I categorize smart people, and then I
Mhm.
categorize super smart people, and then I categorize very very smart people. So Prashant falls in the very very smart
Oh
category.
wow.
Please tell me a little bit about bachpan.
जलगांव सिटी से एक 12 किलोमीटर एक गांव है. I was born there actually, so I spent
Hmm.
most of my life there in that small town. I was like मराठी स्कूल अपना जो भी रहता है स्टैंडर्ड गांव में. So I was in that Marathi school, and then 9th 10th में मैं सिटी में गया.
Hmm.
Again was in a Marathi school, and then 11 12 then science लिया तो obviously सब लाइफ ही चेंज हो गया. Everything turned into English, right? And
So
काटकोण
11th, after 11th, they just switch the syllabus kya, to English.
Yeah, yeah. Until 10th, I was all about, काटकोण त्रिकोण आणि हे सगळं असं. I had a science dictionary,
Huh.
which is like from Marathi to English. So
Just
I
for
used like,
science.
just for science, yeah, science
Yeah.
words. So every time I used to read something, then I used to go back and then like, okay, इसको अभी मराठी में क्या बोलते हैं? अच्छा अच्छा, हाँ, this looks familiar. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, so.
तो ये चीज हमेशा मेरे को भी आता है कि ये जो फ्लिप है, राइट, आफ्टर 10th यू जस्ट फ्लिप. एक तो सिलेबस टफ होता है. आई पर्सनली फेल्ड, माय मेरा फर्स्ट टाइम इन माय लाइफ आई फेल्ड इन फिजिक्स 11th स्टैंडर्ड पहला सेमेस्टर बिकॉज इट वाज जस्ट टू मच. बड़ा
Too much.
जंप है.
Yeah, yeah.
इट इज अनफेयर फॉर द किड्स.
We used to have a semi-English students coming from semi-English as well, and we used to students have English medium, like purely
हम्म.
convent students, right?
हाँ.
And then in the same classroom, kids sitting with the basically coming from Marathi shala apni, right?
हाँ.
Basically Marathi school, right? And they're all in the same group, so it was a little unfair, obviously, right?
हम लोग का स्कूल ऐसा ना, ऐसा वो टेम्बी पाड़ा में एकदम छपरी इंग्लिश स्कूल था. मतलब इट इज
That's it.
इंग्लिश स्कूल, बट
Mhm.
देन नन ऑफ द किड्स वुड स्पीक इंग्लिश. आई रिमेम्बर आई यूज टू फील दैट इंफीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स. मतलब समझ रहा है कि यू कैन फील वो ग्रुप है, ये ग्रुप है. अपना एक छोटा सा मिडल में अपने साथ जो को एग्जिस्ट कर सकते हैं, एंड यू फाइंड दैट.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, of course, those colonies were there inside the classroom, right? I mean,
हाँ.
you have your own friends. You will feel comfortable with talking that, I don't understand this shit, whatever,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, my understanding was very solid
Hmm.
because I learned it in my own mother tongue, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as I know that, as soon as I get over that part, right, I will either at least come to level to them, or maybe even better.
ऐसा थोड़ा सा पर्सनल क्वेश्चन पूछेगा, ओके?
Yes, yes.
10th में कितने मिले थे?
मेरा ज्योग्राफी बहुत गंदा था, so I used to always have like enough marks to pass that geography stuff and history and that. But my Marathi was very strong, so I
Hmm.
used to get good marks in Marathi, and so that's kind of used to cover up. But of course, not that I can say that I was a scholar student. I was not.
Hmm.
I was like average 60%, 65% student. Yeah.
It is, I don't know if you've noticed it, but academic success doesn't necessarily translate to real life success.
उसका सिग्निफिकेंस कम नहीं करता है, एकेडमिक्स का सिग्निफिकेंस कम नहीं
Hmm.
करता है. बट आई सर्टेनली एग्री विथ यू दैट द रियल लाइफ में व्हेन यू गो, whether it is your job or any other thing that you are pursuing,
Hmm.
uh, that just doesn't always turn out to be a very successful person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
every time you go out of your cocoon, matlab, uh, you live and you die 10 kilometers radius mein, to you do not, you never left your cocoon. So in your
Mhm.
case, you did it twice, right? You one first major step, as you mentioned, you moved to Mumbai, from Shirsoli to Mumbai, and then the
Yeah.
second one would be to US. What were the challenges?
And of course villages has their own challenges. I mean, water, electricity, all of those, I been there and had those challenges myself. But when moving to Mumbai, I now had all this stuff, right? I
Hmm.
had 24-hour electricity, I had 24-hour water, right? But the pace, the people, the culture, right? Although it's still Maharashtra, it's a different culture. It's a different type of people, right?
So
So
pace matlab the hustle in
the
Mumbai.
hustle, yeah, the hustle, right?
Okay.
The hustle was there, and so the hustle is not should not always be for money, or hustle should not always be for something like mujhko ye banna hai, wo banna hai. Hustle can be also okay. It's something तुम्हारे में से ही एक नया आदमी निकल के बाहर आता है हसल से, right?
Hmm.
There is a new you that
Absolutely.
you bring yourself by hustling. So
As a kid, you ever thought you would ever come here more so be so successful in life?
I never even imagined myself sitting in the airplane. Okay, forget about coming to the US. But yeah, I never imagined myself. Even fact happened to me. The fact class that we met,
Hmm.
right? It happened to me as an accident. uh, because one of my roommate in Mumbai, right, wanted to join fact. He wanted to come to the US,
Yeah.
right? And he was like, संडे है, घर पे बैठ के क्या करेगा? तो मैं बोला कुछ नहीं, तो बोला चल अपन जाते हैं फैक्ट में इंक्वायरी करके आते हैं कितना
हाँ,
लगता है पैसा, यूएस जाने के लिए कितना पैसा लगता है, चल इंक्वायरी करके आते हैं।
हाँ। कोइंसिडेंटली
हम्म,
मेरा भी वही हुआ। आई वाज़ दिस
अच्छा।
गाय, आई कांट रिमेंबर हिज़ नेम। हम लोग क्लास में बैठे थे, लास्ट ईयर था एंड आई
हाँ,
वाज़ लाइक क्लास में बोर हो रहा है। आई वाज़ लाइक तू क्या क्या सोचा है ये कैंपस का
हम्म,
फॉर्म भर रहा है क्या नहीं? एंड ही वाज़ लाइक नो आई एम गोना गो टू यूएस। ऐसा-ऐसा क्लास लगाया। नेक्स्ट डे जाके मैंने भी क्लास लगा दिया।
अच्छा।
वो तो आया ही नहीं वापस क्लास में। Okay, but
Yeah,
it's I think sometimes some of the ideas just appeal to you, and
right,
inside yourself that you want that.
right,
So,
yeah.
but lot of people I knew who came to US, like I would say 3 out of 5, like really bad ratio. 3 out of 5 people went back. Why do you think so many go back?
First generation has a struggle, right? And they have to struggle, but they lay the foundation, right? And leave the legacy to the next generation. But as long as you know that this is just a part of the part, and
Hmm.
it will be over,
Hmm.
right? Or if things doesn't work out, if you have that in your mind that it is fine if things doesn't work out, right? It actually helps you to stay here more. That's what I feel like.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
right.
true. I used to get so hung up on the fact that ये visa का thing, right? What if
Mhm.
the next step doesn't happen? What if the next step? Even घर लेने के टाइम पे मेरे को like बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन आया है ना, हाथ में
Mhm.
3 साल का वीजा और लोन मिल रहा है 30 साल का।
Yeah.
That doesn't even add up, and nobody's questioning that fact.
Right, exactly.
You were to give a message, right, to anybody who's aspiring to come to US, and maybe they'll look at their podcast and they'll be like, hey, I want to be like Prashant. What
Mhm.
would you tell them?
So this the learning never stops, right?
Okay.
And so that part helped me a lot in even sometimes career switch, right? Like, I mean, I wanted to be a scientist, let's say, right? Then I came into product management, right? Then marketing and strategy and all of those, and so it was totally different than what I used to do on the bench, like pipetting, doing research and everything.
Hmm.
बट आपके अंदर कितना फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है, अडॉप्टेबिलिटी है,
Hmm.
राइट? और कितना पैशन है लर्न करने के लिए नया चीज, राइट?
You don't know, right, कि यही मिलेगा क्या नहीं, जो
राइट,
you
राइट,
what you're expecting.
राइट, या सो वो अडेप्टेबिलिटी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी होगा ना, देन यू विल गो प्लेसेस।
So Prashant, you have a PhD in cell biology, correct?
PhD in biochemistry.
What is biochemistry?
We eat different types of food, right? And different types of foods are made of different protein, carbohydrate, and lipids. uh, and when they enter the body, right, how our body reacts to it, how they interact, what's their function. All of that comes under biochemistry.
How is it that whatever you studied versus what you're doing right now, how is that helping you?
So I work in a company that's based in Seattle, and the company is focused on diagnosis of sepsis.
Of
So sepsis,
sepsis. Okay, so it's like
yeah,
अपन अपन बोलते हैं ना सेप्टिक हो गया तो वो वाला sepsis.
सेप्टिक हो गया है, एग्जैक्टली, या राइट राइट, या सो
अच्छा.
सेप्सिस क्या है, इसको सीवियर इन्फेक्शन बोल सकते हैं, इट्स अ रियली रियली बैड इन्फेक्शन to the body. There is
Hmm.
a cut, there is a surgery, during surgery there is a cut and everything, and in that time, you can get an infection. So when the infection gets really really bad, that can turn into sepsis, and you will be
Okay.
amazed, and even I was amazed when I joined this company. I did not know sepsis is the number one cause of the hospital deaths,
In US?
in the entire world. What people usually think, okay, maybe heart rate से ज़्यादा मरते होंगे, diabetes से ज़्यादा मरते होंगे, right?
हाँ.
Actually, sepsis is one thing that people सबसे ज़्यादा मरते हैं hospital में. Number one cause of hospital
Really?
death. Yeah.
Really? Usually कुछ और हुआ है but it just develops because you get localized infection because of the environment you are in or because of bad hygiene or whatever, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's the body deteriorates really fast, and you have a lot of organ dysfunctions, and when organ dysfunction, basically your body cannot function and you die.
I It is news to me. So कुछ
Yeah,
नया सीखा मैं आज.
yeah.
Okay. So okay. So is it that the company does?
Company has developed a test that diagnose sepsis
Hmm.
in a patient within 1 hour, basically. So routine test है. Of course natural question comes, okay, ये कंपनी ने किया, उसके पहले बाकी लोग क्या करते थे फिर, राइट?
अब मेरे को अभी
कैसे?
पूरा शार्क टैंक का ये आ रहा है. शार्क टैंक कोई और करता नहीं है क्या ये?
Yeah, I know. So तो कल्चर ग्रो होने के लिए ना 48 आवर्स लगता है, 40 आवर्स टू 72 आवर्स लगता है, एंड देन कल्चर समटाइम्स नेगेटिव भी आते हैं, ऑल्दो बॉडी हैज द इन्फेक्शन,
हाँ.
बट कल्चर रिजल्ट्स नेगेटिव आते हैं,
अच्छा.
right? And so and that's why it gets misdiagnosed, right? Like मैं डॉक्टर बोलता है कि ओके हाँ मे बी सेप्सिस नहीं है, फिर अगर कल्चर नहीं
हुँ.
आया नेगेटिव तो, एंड देन अगर मिसडायग्नोस हुआ तो ultimately if अगर सीवियर सेप्सिस हुआ तो देन person
तो
die.
मेरा ना
हाँ,
when I went to India actually I got a scratch and when I came to US I was about to leave 2 दिन पहले हुआ मेरे को and then this thing got sepsis. I could
हाँ,
tell because it's not healing and you're getting this blisters around it. itchy हो रहा था. So I went to the doctor. उसने तो कल्चर भी नहीं किया. वो खाली देखा बोला ये कुछ नहीं है, कुछ तो दिया मेरे को. सेफॉक्सिलिन दिया आई थिंक.
right, yeah, so that those are antibiotics, yeah.
तो
So
ही डिडंट डू कल्चर मेरे
yeah,
हिसाब.
so कल्चर कब लेते हैं? जब सीवियर सेप्सिस, सीवियर इन्फेक्शन होगा, राइट?
ना अच्छा.
तो तुम्हें हुआ वो इन्फेक्शन, सो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन इन्फेक्शन एंड सेप्सिस.
ओके. तो मैं बच जाऊँगा, राइट? मेरे को
या बच
10 साल
जाएगा.
बाद ऐसा नहीं है. वो बच वो
राइट.
करना चाहिए था.
आ
यू
जाएगा.
नो व्हाट इज़ इंटरेस्टिंग पता है? एवरी टाइम आई टॉक टू यू, यू
हाँ,
ब्रिंग अप अ वेरी डिफरेंट थिंग. अभी लास्ट टाइम अपन बात किए, यू मेंशन्ड सुपर बग.
या.
वो क्या हो गया? वो इज़ दैट स्टिल रिलेटेड
No,
टू
no,
दिस?
it's still there, right? So it's all connected, So last time what we talked about is basically antibiotic दिया थे, right? अभी तो
हाँ,
right. So sometimes if even if what happens if there is no infection, right? But just because doctor thinks that it may be because of the infection, right? The first line of defense or first line of treatment is basically give an antibiotic to,
क्या?
and this is what they learn in their basically ये study में they learn करते हैं
हाँ,
कि ओके, अगर तुम्हें कुछ लग रहा है ऐसा तो एंटीबायोटिक दे दो,
हाँ,
राइट?
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ,
और इंडिया में ये मतलब बहुत ज्यादा है एक दैट
हाँ.
एंटीबायोटिक देना, लाइक आई रिमेम्बर फ्रॉम माय चाइल्डहुड, बहुत एंटीबायोटिक देते थे डॉक्टर,
वो डॉक्टर ऊपर जाएगा, पुड़ी निकालेगा, तोड़ेगा, 2 टुकड़ा मार के दे देता था
या फिर
समथिंग.
पेनिसिलिन कितना पॉपुलर था, अभी थोड़ा
हाँ,
कम
हाँ.
हो गया है इंडिया में, बट पेनिसिलिन यूज्ड टू बी वेरी पॉपुलर, क्योंकि मतलब कॉन्सेप्ट क्या था, एटलीस्ट मेरे गांव में, राइट? सो आई कम फ्रॉम वेरी स्मॉल टाउन, राइट? सो गांव में क्या था, अगर जिस डॉक्टर ने मेरे को 2 दिन में ठीक कर दिया, मतलब वो डॉक्टर बहुत अच्छा है, राइट?
हाँ.
हाँ, And so for doctors, the way to do it, right, is to get the extreme treatment,
हाँ,
right, so that you will feel better soon, right.
हाँ.
So they won't go step by step, they go to the extreme treatment so that you'll feel better soon, and you think, oh my god, this doctor make me feel better within 2 days, right.
So that is
Uh,
good, right? उसमें क्या problem है?
no, but your body is now used to, and then bacteria also develop themselves, so they make mutation, they develop themselves, and they say कि okay, अभी मैं मेरे में इतना चेंज करेगा कि 200 मिलीग्राम भी आया तो मेरा कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ पाएगा, समझ गया
अच्छा,
तो, हाँ, and that's
अच्छा,
how
अच्छा.
superbugs get developed, right.
Oh, I know this is in trend very recently. It's like the fire, financial independence, retire early. Do you
Uh-huh.
have that fire plan in place?
Actually not now, because I don't want to retire, that is the thing.
Hey,
So
but वो होता है ना कि you work because you want to, not because you have to.
right, right. So, but it never occurred to me that I have to work because I need to. Up to this point at least. And then I calculated more. I mean, of course, I read about it. I calculated what my fire number is gonna be, right?
अच्छा,
And
तो
then
फायर नंबर किया है क्या? For somebody who's not done anything, you are definitely on the fire path.
yeah. So I calculated my fire number, right? But obviously, it's a
तो
moving
फायर
goalpost,
नंबर
right?
क्या है? Is it an age? Is it a annual,
It's a
like
dollar amount,
it's a
right?
dollar
Basically,
amount?
it's a
Okay.
dollar amount, right? It's a dollar amount that you think that if you have accumulated over this period of
Mm,
time, right, will help you to you basically live comfortably
mm.
over this many period, right?
So
And so that's your fire
without
amount.
revealing any numbers, what should
Mhm.
be a ideal fire number for somebody, living in US?
$4 million or so of worth of assets, right?
Mm.
Would be a good fire number. This was before pandemic, and then the pandemic hit. The number has now, like, okay, 5 to 6 million should be your total assets,
So
that makes you
six
feel
million
comfortable.
money, घर, bank balance, 401k,
401k,
everything
all of
included.
that assets, right? That makes you feel comfortable living in any good area of the
Hmm.
United States.
Do you see yourself taking an entrepreneurial route?
Yes, yeah, I always, I mean, the reason I came to the industry actually, it's for that purpose,
To
uh,
be to have your own business?
to have my own business, or
Yeah.
right, because only the invention is not important. I feel like obviously they have their own importance, but taking that invention to make it to the product, and a useful product is
True.
even, it has plays is even bigger role, right. So, and I want to be part of that process, and that's the whole reason I came to darker side, they call, and
The
I learned
business side, right?
business
Moving
side
away
of it.
from
Yeah,
technology. Yeah, absolutely. And
right.
that's the dirty side, but you learn so much. I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And again, that was totally a new learning to me, because when you do your PhD, nobody teaches you about how to run a business, right?
Yes, yes. And the
And
idea can be amazing. And you have that engineer, or not engineer, scientist mindset
yeah,
to keep
yeah.
innovating. But then as a business, with business acumen, you got to think ability, market
Risk,
size,
exactly. Yeah, who's your audience and everything,
your
right?
audience.
Yeah, all of that.
Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how does it feel like? How has life changed ever since you've had your kid?
I always say this to everybody: the parenthood is actually the best thing happened to me.
Yeah.
It just, my days are more brighter now than what it used to be. Now, you suddenly start finding meaning in everything that you do. That's what I feel like, and then you have now a more long term perspective, which
That's I've me personally have seen a very positive change in you. I mean, you've always been the ideal person I have known. Like, मेरा मम्मी हमेशा बोलते प्रशांत ला भेटू नहीं है. तेरे एकदम ऐसा गुड बॉय, वो शर्मा जी का लड़का वाला इमेज है.
right, right.
This is the very first podcast I and थैंक यू सो मच ऑनेस्टली मेरे
Yeah,
को पहला नाम तुम्हारा ही आया इज लाइक आई वांट प्रशांत ऑन द कॉल एंड आई नो
yeah,
you very religiously comment add like and even message me ये वीडियो आया नहीं कमेंट बोल बोला
yeah.
था आएगा so
Yeah,
that helps there are days when you don't feel like doing anything it's like कुछ हो तो नहीं रहा है 10 लोग ही देख रहे हैं वही 10 लोग
right.
है उसमें मम्मी मेरे को मैसेज करके बोल रही है